Alright, I think I actually got this set up properly this time, so I can actually fucking, my fucking bird's gonna make noise, isn't he? You motherfucker. If you say anything right now, I'm gonna destroy you. He's gonna start yelling. I know he's gonna do it. He always fucking does it. Alright, so I'm gonna edit this. So I'm gonna do one long take. And, this is gonna be fucking horrible, but I wrote down points I wanted to make like an adult, like a normal human being would do. I changed up the scenery so it's less boring. You get to see my fucking destroyed grapevine by these fucking Jap beetles. Wrecked them. There's like 2 clusters of grapes on this entire vine, and it stretches across the entire side of my fucking house. So that's really cool. Thank you, Japs, for ruining my fucking grapes. I appreciate it. Alright, so I talked yesterday about the project that I'm working on, which is a RuneScape clone. And that sounds really fucking gay to say out loud, and it's really hard for me not to laugh at that. So the name of it is even worse. It makes me fucking, man, I need to rename this thing so fucking bad. But basically, it's a RuneScape clone. Fuck! It's a RuneScape clone, and it's not in the vein of like RuneScape 3. None of that. I don't really like RuneScape 3 that much. It's more like not old school RuneScape either, because I want to go for like the graphical period when it was like fucking brand new, when everything looked like just terrible. Like everything looked horrible. I want it to be like that because I like horrible shit. And I think you do too, which is why you're watching this fucking video. So, one of the big motivations for that is because modeling for it is a lot easier. I'm not a 3D modeler. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So, it makes it a bit easier for me to try and make a semi-polished product if it's a bit, easier on the artistic side of stuff. But at the same time, it's not. You have to make intentional stylistic choices these days. Like back then it looked like that because that was as good as you can do for a fucking browser game. But these days you have to make intentional stylistic choices. Like, am I going to make this look like shit or am I going to make it look good? And that's the choice you have to make. And I'm choosing the former because I already went over that. You already know. You know, I know. I like shit. You like shit. Let's just get to the bottom of it. Let's not have any false pretenses. I get it. Okay, so I talked about that. What's interesting about it so far, I kind of want this to be like some kind of, not like a blog, because that sounds fucking gay. Or a vlog, that's even worse. I'm not even going to say it. You probably know what I was about to say. I'm not going to say it. But basically, I was just thinking about making these videos every now and then, talking about the progress, just because it's motivating for me. I don't know if anyone cares, but if someone cares, they might find it interesting. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about stuff I'm working on right now. I don't have any rendering stuff done quite yet, and it'll probably get more interesting around then. But, something I'm working on right now, which is something I didn't even consider when I was setting out to write the socket layer for the program, was the idea of master and slave servers. Now, in RuneScape, you have a server listing, and that is generated by all the servers reporting to a master server. And then that master server reports to the client all of the active worlds and all of the player counts and all that kind of stuff. And it's also important for if you're doing direct messaging between 2 different people, you don't have to keep refreshing the database to find new messages. You can just ping the master. If that person that you're messaging isn't in your server, you ping the master. Master pings all the other servers with the message, and the one that has it sends it out. So that makes it easier. It consolidates the login and register process into one server rather than it being spread out across every server. So authentication is centralized, which is good. It just reduces the overall amount of database pulls across different instances, which, I'm going to be doing a lot of database stuff, intense database stuff. It's good to have that consolidated in one place. Another interesting aspect that I've been considering as I'm looking at figuring out what goes where as far as clients and servers go is is the delineation of tasks and responsibilities to either the client or the server. Now, there's a lot of important things that you can't rely on the client to do and report back because, you know, they can be used for cheating and stuff like that. So you have to factor for one, security. You know, you can't trust the client to really give you any good data on, you know, positional stuff, you know, anything that has to do with combat, obviously. You really can't rely on the client to do much of anything other than display the game. You have to think about how you're going to sync up the client and server. Because like the server's going to handle, when a client clicks, it's going to pathfind to figure out where they're going or what they're attacking or whatever. And it's important to understand that if there's an issue where there's a problem with the syncing, like if a client clicks on a spot and then suddenly a fucking cow moves to that spot and like the server is delayed by a second, so it gets that message saying, like, click there, there's a cow there, it's going to attack the cow. And you don't want that, so you have to consider how to keep those two things in sync. And that's been a huge conceptual undertaking, and I am still not entirely sure how that's going to work out. But I have a vague idea of how I'm going to implement that, and I'm just going to see how it goes. You know, part of why projects like this are interesting to me, and why I'm interested in doing this in the first place, is just seeing how the chips lie, or seeing where they fall, or just seeing how things develop, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I have no idea. My phone ran out of space, so the video is going to look like it's from a different angle now, because it probably is. But that's what happened. I ran out of space. I should have sprung for the 64 megabyte. Anyways, I was talking about MIDI compositions. I don't know anything about music. I know a little bit about musical composition just because I watch a lot of opera. It's like saying you know Japanese because you watch a lot of fucking anime. It sounds dumb. But I have a vague idea of... I don't have any idea what I'm doing. I'm just guessing, basically. I don't know. I'm not artistic at all. Like, I don't have an artistic bone in my body. And it makes it difficult for me to come up with ideas like this. You know, a lot of people describe themselves as ideas guys or whatever. I'm not an ideas guy. I don't have any fucking ideas, which is why I'm making a RuneScape clone. And so if you watching this video right now, which is probably going to be 5 people that I know, if any of you are good at MIDI composition, we're going to be using Microsoft, the GS Wave Synth Table, or whatever it's called. It's the default Microsoft one, because that's what RuneScape 2 used, because that was just, you know, normal for the time. You know, a lot of people don't like how it sounds, but I think there's a specific kind of, it's got like a patina to it. It's really good. I like it. RuneScape music is always, it always stuck out to me. It sounded, they used what they had, and they made it sound as good as they could, and it has a certain kind of vibe to it that I don't really see anywhere else. Like, you know, you can tell a game is good if you can remember the soundtrack years later, and I think RuneScape did an amazing job at that. And, you know, I'm not hoping to even come close to that type of artistic mastery of, you know, technical limitations like that, but it would be cool to have something that was in that style. So if you are good at MIDI compositions of any sort, or if you know anything about music or want to help with that, hit me up. My email is aleco@aroltd.com. That's aleco@aroltd.com. Make sure you put like 50 million exclamation points in your email subject, otherwise I will miss it, and send it about 10 times or I'll miss it. I get a lot of trash and a lot of work related shit, so you really got to work your way in there, which no one's going to respond to that, but if just in case they do, hit me up. Okay, so I talked about that. Is that it? Oh no, it's not it. Okay. So I don't like web development at all. I hate web development. It's fucking horrible. It like sucks the life out of you, makes you zombie. That's what I describe most web developers as, is complete fucking zombies. And I know that's a little offensive, but it's the truth. It's the truth. You can't have a soul and be a JavaScript developer. I'm sorry, it's just not how it works. So for a while, I was struggling with what the client should be written in, and I was originally going to make it a standalone that would run as an executable. But ultimately, I decided to go with using fucking TypeScript, HTML5, 80 other buzzwords that I fucking despise. Basically, it's going to be written in JavaScript using WebGL and XYZ, ABC. Because these days, no one wants to download a fucking program to run it and play it. The only way you're going to get attention is if you make it so like it pops up. It's like, boom, boom, there it is, boom! You can enjoy it. You don't have to do anything. You just fucking boom. Because people are fucking autistic these days and have no fucking attention span. So you got to kind of, in order for anyone to even sort of remotely give a shit about it, you have to kind of make it easy to access. But that's just my theory. Well, another thing too is like RuneScape wasn't a standalone game. It was a browser-based game, and that's why everyone thought it was fucking cool, because you could just pop it up, it's there. And back in the day, that wasn't common. That like these days you see it all the time, but like back then that was fucking mind blowing. You're like, holy shit, I don't even need to download anything. You just fucking boom, there it is. So that's why I'm going that route. I have minimal experience writing WebGL, but I have more experience writing regular OpenGL. And the experience I have with WebGL is that trying to use JavaScript to do it is fucking horrible. It makes you want to. Oh my god, it's horrible. It's bad. JavaScript adds about 50 man-hours to every one productive hour of just trying to get things to fucking work properly, which is really cool, because I have a lot of extra time that I can waste trying to get shit to work. But I believe that using TypeScript, which I'd never done before as far as WebGL stuff is concerned, might make the process a little more smooth. So we're going to have to see how that goes. If I announce at some point that I'm switching over to just like a fucking standalone, don't be surprised. I get flustered very easily. I get angry relatively easily with programming stuff, which is amazing considering that I've been doing this for so long and have a job doing it, and it pisses me off like nothing else. Like, there's just nothing else in life that could piss me off more than a computer can. It's insane to me. But at the same time, you gotta be patient. You gotta fucking, you gotta get your fucking dick trampled on and not have to, you can't complain. You get your dick trampled on every day and you can't complain about it. And eventually you just, you fucking deal with it. And that's programming. Basically, imagine you are, you're sitting, you're kneeling down, and you're looking up like this. And there's this fucking 7-foot tall giant in front of you. And he fucking takes his boot and stomps your face in over and over forever. That's computer programming. So you kind of have to be a really fucked up human being to be a programmer, which is why you see all these weirdos that program computers. So basically what I'm trying to get at is don't be a computer programmer. Don't be me. Don't get stomped in the face by a boot every day of your life, and you're going to have a good life. And on that note, I think I've talked about everything I wanted to talk about. I'm going to keep this relatively short because there's not much to show. So I will link the GitHub in the description of this video. You can check that out. Yeah, so that's where that's going to be. My commit names suck, and if it bothers anybody, send me 80 emails telling me that I need to fucking name my commits better, and I'll probably do it for about a week, and then I'll go back to naming them like trash. I want to get a changelog going at some point. I don't know quite yet, just because a lot of it is so small that it's not really worth talking about. But once we start doing more graphical stuff, I think it's gonna pick up more. So yeah, that's that. So if you're interested at all in helping with the development of this, hit me up. Again, the email is aleco@aroltd.com. You can leave a comment here. I don't give a shit. You can do whatever you want. That's really the only two ways of getting a hold of me. I don't like talking to people. So remember, email me 50 times within the span of 5 minutes, and you will probably get my attention. Okay? All right. That's it.